Hi guys, happy Saturday. Today we are going to be doing a stretch session and we're going to follow along. So I'm a little more flexible than normal. I used to be a gymnast, and Matt is going to show you so you don't feel like, oh, I have to have my stomach on the ground in that pose. No, wherever you feel comfortable, that's okay, and that's where we should start. So I'm going to be pointing out things, just follow along. We'll hold each stretch for about 30 seconds. So we're going to start in a butterfly position. So we're going to put our toes together like this. And then the closer you can get your feet in, the harder the stretch is going to be. If you're out here, that's okay. And you're going to think about putting your knees down to the ground, not with pushing them down, but just by using your muscles. So we're going to keep our back straight, so all the way up, and then we're going to go down like we're going to smell our toes. And we're going to hold. And wherever you feel comfortable, that's where you're going to want to hold it. Remember to breathe throughout the stretch. Okay, and come up. This time I want you to squeeze a little bit closer in towards you, because now that your hips have opened up a little bit more, you should have a little more range of motion, even if it's just a scooch. All right, so same thing. Think about pushing down before you lean forward, and then lean down toward your toes. See how I'm leaning out past it? That keeps my back flat. Yep. Think about keeping your chest out. And just let yourself sink into it during an exhale. All right. And then come back up to your regular seated position, and we're going to push our knees together. So here we're going to grab behind like we're hugging our legs, and we're going to squish it into our chest and put our chin down on our knees, and we're going to slide out to a pike position. So go as far as you can, keeping your chin on your knees. Don't let your knees go out and keep your chin up. You're going to let the stretch there. And then we're going to hold. If this is too easy, you can also bring your arms out and reach down to your toes. So whichever is more comfortable. Don't go to where it hurts, just go to where there's a stretch. Remember to point your toes. There you go. Remember to breathe. Okay, and bring it back in. And this time we're going to grab our feet. And same thing, put your chin down. You don't want to have a hunchy back when you're leaning forward. You want to keep your chin out and over top. So grab your toes, chin on your knees, and slide your heels out, keeping your feet flexed this time. Good. Remember to relax into it. If this hurts and you can't feel like you can reach your hands, that's okay. Just go to where you can. Remember, the important thing is keeping that back flat. And squeeze those feet together. All right. Okay, now we're going to stretch our hips. So you're going to come back in, and we're going to put one foot over top of the other. So if this is easier to see, you have a straight foot, one leg is bent. You're going to reach through the hole in on the outside so that you're underneath your straight leg. Yep. And then you're going to just pull that straight leg into your chest until you feel a stretch back down this way. So this little crisscross stretch, there you go. And think about pushing your knee down to the floor. Okay. And from here, we're going to take our knee and drop it down. Yep, just where it's comfortable. And then we're going to let the other knee kind of flop on top of our foot. So slide it this way just a smidge, and this foot's going to stay out. Yep. If you don't feel like you're comfortable sitting, that's okay. Remember, go to where you feel a stretch, not to where it hurts. You should really feel it opening up your hip here. Yep. Okay, from here, we're going to take our feet and we're going to pull them apart this way so our knees are on top. So we're just going to knees in line. If they don't quite line up, that is okay, and you'll feel it on your hip, whichever foot is on top. Think about sitting up tall too, so you can feel it stretching. Yep, and just relax. Guys, be careful. Don't squish yourselves, but pull over and relax. Remember to breathe, and on each exhale, you want to let your muscles relax into the position. A lot of people get hung up on stretching because it's a pain that you're not used to. Everybody's used to picking things up and feeling the pain there, but stretching is a different kind of discomfort, but it ends up with the same kind of benefits. Okay, from here, you're going to untangle yourself. Remember which leg is on top because we're going to switch it. So we're going to go back to that original pose on the pike. You're going to take your other leg, crisscross. You're going to reach through the hole and then grab your straight leg and then pull up. The closer you can get to your chest, the better. But remember, we don't want to have that hunched back. We want to stay up straight. And then think about pushing this knee towards the ground, not with your hands, but just relaxing into it. With each exhale, remember to relax into the stretch. You should feel it on the outside of your hip there. Okay, and from here, we're going to just drop our knee down and then take the top knee, line it up with our foot, and relax. Yep, try to get that foot right underneath of your knee. Scooch it in, there you go. And then this is lined up. If you are super flexible in your hips, you can kind of relax your foot and your knee on top of one another. But if not, that's okay. If you're way up here and you feel that stretch, that's perfectly fine. Just wherever you feel that stretch. Remember to breathe and relax. A lot of people have tight hips, and so any kind of hip stretch is going to help you eliminate back pain. It's going to help you with your mobility. A lot of people, when they want to gain flexibility in their back or in splits or anything like that in dance or gymnastics or cheerleading, mainly it's your hips that are tight, not so much your hamstrings or anything else that we would typically associate with a lack of mobility. So from here, we're going to pull our feet in opposite directions, extra crisscrossed. Line your knees up with one another as much as you can. And remember to relax into it, and you should feel it out on this hip. You might feel it on the other one too, that's okay. And remember to breathe, and on each exhale, relax into the stretch. Okay, now from here, we're going to go over to our stomachs. Okay, and then we're going to stretch our shoulders. So we're going to push straight back into like a crawling position, and then try to push your arms out so your armpits go on the floor. Don't let your butt sit down on your feet. You want it up in the air so that you can really feel that stretch in your back and your shoulders. If you feel like you can't get your armpits to the ground, that's okay. Keep trying to slide those hands out farther away from you while keeping your hips in the same spot. Relax into it. All right, go back up to that crawling position. And here we're going to do a reach through. So you're going to take one hand and you're going to go underneath and get your shoulder to the ground. Just relax into that. Feel your hips twisting and your upper back. we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Don't forget to breathe. All right, and back up. And from here, we're going to stretch our wrists. So wrist pain is pretty common with anyone that is working at a computer or just using their hands. So a lack of mobility can result in pain and stiffness. So this is a really, really good one to do just before work. So go into that crawling position, and we're going to lightly rock back and forth, just warming up our wrists. And from here, we're going to turn both wrists so their fingers are facing away from each other, and we're going to rock side to side. And then from here, we're going to go both facing toward you. So your thumbs should be on the outside. Yep. And rock back and forth. This one you might feel a little resistance for, so if you can't rock back and forth, just hold. That's fine. And then in towards each other. Yep. All right, then we're going to flip them. So flip them like a pancake, and we're going to rock back and forth just a little bit. This one you might feel a little more resistance, so if you feel uncomfortable, you can just hold the stretch as well. And then in towards each other. Back toward you, and out to the side. Out to the side, your thumbs should be closest to you. If you feel like you're doing this, and your elbow's on the ground, you're just going the wrong direction. All right, together and just roll them around. Get them all super loose. Do wave a little bit. And the other way. All right. And now we're going to do our shoulders again. So we're going to take one arm, grab it at the elbow, and pull it across our chests. Think about pulling it out. Don't let that elbow bend, or you're going to lose that stretch in your shoulder. Okay, and the same thing on the other side. Grab at your elbow or a little bit closer to your wrists and pull across. Yep, and then if you're sitting on your ankles too, you can also stretch those. So think about keeping your heels together, and you'll feel a nice big stretch on the front of those ankles. All right, from here, we're going to go arm up over our head, and then behind our back, and then grab that elbow and lightly pull it behind your head. Just where you feel a stretch. And the same thing on the other side. Lift that arm up and behind your head and grab your elbow. All right, and one more. Grab your hands behind your back, and you're going to lean forward. And don't think about just leaning forward. You want to think about lifting up over your head with your shoulders. Try not to put your head on the ground to strain your neck. Just go toward it for balance. All right, and up, and then shake out those arms. Okay, now we're going to do a straddle stretch. So from here, you're going to sit back in that pike position that we started in, but we're going to put our feet out to the sides. Wherever you have space, you might have to adjust. There you go. All right, so from here, you want to think about keeping your toes rolled out, not in. So in would look like this. If our big toes are on the ground, we want to avoid that throughout all these stretches. We want to have our pinky toes toward the ground. If you can't roll out as much as I can, that is fine. If you could have your foot flat, that's perfect to start out with. But we want to think pinky toes toward the ground. All right, so from here, we're going to reach down to either side. I'm going to start on my right, and we're going to think about not just going hunching down. Think about having a flat back and reaching out. So if you can only go to here, that's fine. If you feel a stretch, something's happening, you're working on it. So hands go out to the side and bring your chest down to your leg. So you can see Matt is not reaching quite as far, but he has his back relatively flat, and so he's feeling that stretch. And you'll also feel it back here as well. Tight hamstrings and a tight back are very common in office workers, so making sure that we stretch this out before work is crucial. So if we struggle with back pain or just stiffness after work, this is a really good way to prevent that. Okay, and up. Then we're going to go to the same thing on the other side. So reach out, keep your chest to the one side. You may find that you have a dominant side. My left side is a lot easier to go down toward, and that's okay. Just try to make sure that you're stretching them equally. And remember to relax into that stretch. Don't let your knees bend. You want to push your knees down, not with your hands, but with your muscles. You can also, if you can reach your toe, you can use this time to point that, and that stretches your ankles out as well. All right, and up. From here, you're gonna put both hands in the middle, pretty close to you, and then with that flat back, we wanna slide out, thinking about putting our chin to the ground, not our foreheads. Yep, and wherever you feel a stretch. If you really feel like you are stretching, but you can't get anywhere to where you feel like some resistance, that's okay. That's just tightness. So you can have somebody come over to the side of you and lightly grab your hands and then just pull and then tell them when to stop. Okay, so he feels it right here. He's still keeping his back straight. Yep. And then hold for about 30 seconds. But as long as you feel those muscles relax. Okay. We're going to do the same thing through that rotation, but we're going to start in with a crisscross position. So right now, I want you to open up your hips a little more, so put one hand in front of you and one hand behind, and you're just going to scoot your hips just a little bit, just as much as you feel like you can without causing pain, because your hips have been opened a little bit for our first round of stretching, so this is going to be a little bit more open. So once you're in that position where you already feel a little bit of a stretch, you're going to take one hand, you're going to act like you are putting on a seatbelt, okay, and the other hand is going to go up over your head and reach down toward your foot. Think about keeping your chest up to the ceiling, not rounded to the ground. And don't worry about touching your foot. Just feel that. You should feel it all the way down your side. You should also feel it on your legs as well, your hamstrings. All right, and up. And same thing on the other side. So cross your seatbelt over and put an umbrella over your head. Remember to breathe and relax into it. Push those knees down flat and turn your toes out. All right, and up. And one more time to the middle. So if you can, scoot your hips forward. If that's as far as they're going to go, that is fine too. And with a flat back, slide out, keeping your chest up. And if you feel a stretch wherever you are, that is fine. That's where your body is working, and that's where your starting point is. That is fine. Remember to breathe and relax into it. The more relaxed you are, the farther you're going to go down without pain. Okay, and back up. All right, and shake out your legs a little bit. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of back. So lie down on your back. And you're going to bring one knee into your chest. You're going to grab your knee with the opposite hand. And you're just going to keep this hand on the ground. You're going to keep your shoulders on the ground. And you're going to rock it to the side. Yep. Okay, and the same thing on the other side. So bring that opposite knee into your chest. Grab it with your opposite hand. Keep this hand out and your shoulders flat on the ground. and pull it to the side. Remember to relax into it. All right. And back up. One more on our back. We're going to go onto our stomach. And put our arms straight out to the side, shoulders flat on the ground. Okay, from here you're going to lift up one foot, whichever one, you're going to lift it up really, really high, and then cross it over to your opposite hand. Keep your shoulders on the ground. You can touch your opposite hand, awesome. If not, that is okay, good, where you feel stretch. Okay, and same thing on the other side. Lift that foot up and cross it over. Try to keep your shoulders flat on the ground. All right, and back. All right. Okay, now we're going to work on a split stretch, so don't stop. This is important for everyone. If you feel like, well, there's no way I can get a split, or I don't even want to learn a split, that is fine. The muscles that you're stretching here are your hips, and those are necessary for whatever you're doing, whether it's gymnastics or just sitting at a desk or doing construction work. These are important muscles, so don't neglect them. So here you're going to start up with one foot in front, doesn't matter which, and we're going to start in a lunge, so you want to be about 90 degrees. Okay, and from here you're going to just let your back hip come forward. So we're not moving, we're not going like this, we're not letting that knee go forward. We're just squeezing our butt and pushing our hip forward. So you should feel that stretch right down the front of this leg. Okay, and then from here, we're going to put our hands next to our foot, and we're going to straighten that knee out. Yep. And just relax into it. Okay, and then we're going to slide that foot forward. Okay, keep it between your hands. Slide it forward as far as you can go without feeling pain. If you are in a full split, awesome. Then you can think about keeping your hips back and stretching this back hip, which is generally pretty stubborn. If you're not in a full split and you're with Matt, where Matt is right now, that's perfect. You're going to keep that front leg straight, and you're going to think about keeping your shoulders up as much as you can. If you are forward, that's okay. Don't worry about it. But think about keeping that front leg straight. Relax into it. If you feel pain, you are too far down. Go up a little bit more. All right, and from here, you're just going to come out of it. You can sit to the side, however you want to get out. And we're going to put our other foot in front. So remember, start in that lunge position. Hands on your knee. And just let that back hip push forward a little bit. Squeeze your hips, squeeze your butt. And you should feel that back hip. That's the one that's the most stubborn to stretch out, to relax. So we're going to focus on that first before we go into the split. Okay, and straighten that front leg. Put your hands on either side of your foot and slide it forward. Remember, keep that front leg straight. Only slide out as much as you can until you feel pain. That is too much. You want to go back to where you feel comfortable. All right, and come out. Sit yourself to the side and come out. All right, and one more. We're going to stand up. We're going to put our feet to the side, and our elbows are going to go down to our hips, there you go, and then we're going to go push our hips out to the Sumo Stretch. So push your knees back behind you. Keep those feet flat on the ground. All right, and straight legs up, hands down, and we're going to keep those legs straight. We're going to slide them out into a middle split or a straddle. Don't let your butt touch the ground. And so we don't want to have our hands way far out like this, And we don't want to have them here so we're sitting on the ground. We want them right in the middle. Yep, relax into it. If you feel like you are struggling, if it's painful, then you're too far. Just go to where you feel like there's a stretch, because that point is going to change. It's going to get lower and lower and lower, but for right now, don't force it. And relax into it. Remember to breathe. On each exhale, try to relax a little bit more. And relax and come out. All right, and go back into that butterfly and just relax those hips out one more time. All right, so that was our Stretchy Saturday. If you have any more questions about stretching or modifications for those stretchings, you can check out the description, or you can reach out to either one of us and we'll help you out and help you to do it for your daily life. So happy Saturday and enjoy the rest of your day.